That's why. Have you ever been in a new relationship and it just felt so good, and then it got old? Have you ever been on your way to a new work environment and you felt so exhilarated and excited in the beginning, and then it stopped giving you that feeling? Well, that's because as we watch you, and we watch all of you, as we see humans in their fantastic exploration and expansion, we notice that the majority of the creation that you do as you create your empires and your relationships and the structures of your life, whether it is personal relationships or global relationships, whether it is monetary empires, whether it is subjects of understanding the philosophy of the world, as you are building these magnificent physical structures and creations, the majority of your work happens before you gather the first board or the first brick or the first computer or the first computer programmer. In other words, the majority of your creation happens before you begin to take any physical action, because there is a vibrational structure, a vibrational grid, a vibrational creation that takes place. So we see our greatest value to you here today, and the greatest work that we do as we are playing with you, is to convince you of the reality of this vibrational beingness that has amassed and that is real, but that may be vibrating at a frequency where you can't yet see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, and that's why you don't believe it. It is so much easier to believe what's manifested than to believe what's pre-manifested. And this pre-manifestation, it is the precursor to all of this magnificent expansion. If we can convince you that you were source energy before you came into this body, and that the larger part of you still is source energy even though you're in this body. If we can convince you that as you explore the details of your life that you cause a vibrational expansion, and that the larger part of you immediately takes that expansion, is that expansion, has become that expansion, and is calling you to it. And if we can convince you that the way you feel is your evidence, in the moment evidence, of whether you're going with the expansion or whether you're holding back a little bit. To the degree that you feel bad, you're holding back. To the degree that you feel good, you're going with it. And if we can convince you that if you will just chill out a little, if you will stop looking at reality and letting whatever it is control your every thought, if you will allow yourself the hopeful conclusion that maybe there is a vortex, and maybe my source is within it, and maybe if I just release thoughts, that source will call me into vibrational alignment, then it is our promise to you that your vortex will train your vibration upward. Because in the absence of resistant thought, you practice a non-resistant, totally allowing thought. And the more often you do that, the more easy it is to do it, until in time, and we're talking about a very short time, you will become a vibrational match to the frequency of your source. And when that happens, when you spend more time in this vortex, do you believe there's a vortex? Can you sort of kind of hear it? You get what we're talking about? You have to accept it. You're good, but you haven't figured out how to scrape enough dirt together to launch it into orbit. You got to know there's something else going on. And as you acknowledge that there is this vortex of creation, and as you acknowledge that it is a vibrational frequency, and as you accept the reality of it and feel your way into it again and again and again, and once you're in it, you milk it. You stay there as long as you can until it's more natural for you to be in that frequency than to be in a resistant frequency that doesn't feel so good. What will begin to happen to you is you will begin to see and hear and smell and taste and touch inside the vortex. In other words, we're not saying to you that everything that manifests is outside the vortex. We're saying to you that you got to be in the vortex for the things you want to manifest. You got to be in the vortex for the things that you want to consistently and profoundly and chronically begin to manifest. You've got to believe you've got to understand your frequency. And the only way that you can understand your frequency is through your emotions. Do you get that? So what are your emotions anyway? Your emotions are your indicator of the relationship between the frequencies in you. So you were source energy before you came into this body. That's a frequency. You are a point of consciousness here in this physical body. That's a frequency. There is a larger part of you still non-physically focused. That's a frequency. And those frequencies are playing off of one another, and that's what emotions are. So when you feel elation, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That means the thought that you're thinking right now is in total agreement with the thought the source within you thinks, you see. Well, we can't say it to you any more clearly than that. Now, let's play together if you want to. We are eager to chew with you about anything that is important to you. And our value here to you is to help you to feel in a more obvious way your vortex connection. In other words, our value to you is to bridge you from where you are vibrationally to who you really are. And so it is our expectation that you will feel relief as you move that way. Whether you come to the hot seat or not, whether you are listening in, whether you are watching in, whether you're sitting in this chair with your eyes closed, or whether you are fully participating, whether you visit with us verbally or not, we are aware not only of who you are, but of all that you are in your vortex. And we can feel the power of that which you're reaching for. In other words, you have highlighted solutions all over the planet. There is a powerful calling of solution and answer. But the most important thing to understand is, friends, we know the answers. We have the solutions. But to you got to say, big hairy deal. Because if you're not in the vibrational vicinity, it doesn't matter how clearly we speak it, how clearly we spell it out. If you're not in the vibrational vicinity of the solutions that we are highlighting, you can't hear it. So this conversation that we have just had was all from our understanding that as we remind you who you really are in these very general terms, that you will release resistance and rise to the frequency of that which you are. And that's what's taken place already. You are in closer vicinity to your vortex than you usually are. You are in closer vicinity to the solutions than you seek than you've been in a very long time. So we're going to have a great deal of fun here together. And what you are going to notice is all kinds of ahas are going to begin to occur to you. You're going to feel smarter than you have felt in a very long time because you are vibrationally up to speed with the solutions that you have been looking for. You are following? So just be playful about it. There's nothing serious going on here at all. All that's happening here is that we are together in the process of assisting one another. We are helping you to come into alignment with who you are and what's in your vortex. And will the manifestation come? Yes, indeed it will. But we're trying to distract you from manifestational scrutiny. Because when you need to see it right here, right now, and you don't, now you're focused upon the absence of it. And when you focus upon the absence of it, it's an entirely different frequency than the presence of it. So now you're not a cooperative component. So if just for a little while, we could get you to be looking for the emotional manifestation. And that's a valid word, emotional manifestation. Because when you feel an emotion, it happened. It's real. It got you in your gut, didn't it? When you feel emotion, isn't it a reality? It's an indication of vibration. So as you feel an emotion, understand that that emotion is an in-the-moment reality that you can take to the bank, to the vortex. What do you want to talk about? Some things. It's going to be a very good day. Begin there. You are the one.